Morning, everybody. Something good is going to happen to you.
Something good is going to happen to you.
I believe it. We've always tried to have God's guidance because when we have His guidance and follow it, it's real guidance, and wonderful things happen. One of the things He said was to build me a university, build it on my authority and on the Holy Spirit. Raise up your students to hear my voice and to go where my power is not known, where my light is dim and my voice is heard small. To go to the uttermost bounds of the earth, and their work will exceed yours, and in this I am pleased. Now in our 10th year, that's what we've been trying to do. And we thank God for that kind of guidance, and we trust in Him. Praise His name. Today is a special day, and I believe it will suffice for the entire week. There are times, in addition to our normal and official 2 chapels, very rare times, of course, when we will have an extra if we feel that's God's guidance. Sometimes we will only have 1 chapel if we feel that's God's guidance. It has to have a reason. And we've prayed about it and felt that today on Monday, with God's servants here under God's special guidance, that this will be the only chapel we will have this week, remembering that God can hold it in our hearts all week long. And it could even be more meaningful that way, this particular week. So that's our guidance, and we surrender it to Him gladly. I'm so grateful and thrilled, I really don't know what to say, that Kathryn Kuhlman would be willing to stay over after having spent so much of her life, which I believe is a great giving of seed faith, yesterday, when she stood on her feet 4 hours on that platform, stood without sitting down. Can you imagine standing 4 hours, not just standing, but working, giving? No wonder her life is rich, because she gives so much. And Dino, who will be presented by Richard, who has come to mean so much to me because we've known each other since he was a teenager. I've always loved and appreciated him. And before I present Kathryn, I'd like for Richard to come and say something about his dear warm friend, Dino. Richard, would you come at this time?
Thank you, Dad. In 1967, I was in a rehearsal on the first floor of the LRC of the original group, which later became the World Action Singers. They were known as the ORU Collegians. And a young man from the Juilliard School of Music came in and played the piano for us. He was introduced to us as Dino Karsinakis. I didn't know who he was. I'd never heard of him. And little did I have any idea that I would be standing before you this morning introducing him to you. I personally met Dino about 2 years ago, and we've had a warm friendship since that day. And it was a great honor for me to be here last year when he played in chapel, and his playing is so inspired of the Holy Spirit. You can just feel the waves coming out. And it's again my honor and my privilege. Would you welcome Dino at the piano?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm not sure I can pronounce my last name like you did. That was great. I very seldom hear it anymore. It's always Dino at the piano. My last name is at the piano, you know. It's really an honor and privilege to be here in chapel once again and to be on the same stage with two of the greatest personalities of this generation, Oral Roberts and Kathryn Kuhlman. They are the leaders spiritually for this day, and I'm honored to be a part of this family. You know, in these services, I see so many people that look at others that are healed and they say, why couldn't it happen to me? Or some say, it shouldn't even happen to me because my request is so small, my problem is so small. But there's a song that was written that says about that small little world of ours. He cares for the smallest need that you may have. Ralph Carmichael wrote this, titled My Little World. Oh, you're kind. Thank you. I think I better play one more number. All right. All right, here's a chorus that is very beautiful, and it's a different style entirely. And it's very worshipful, and I feel the presence of the Holy Spirit already in this place. Written by Jimmy Owens. As we place our sights on Jesus Christ, we can sing, Holy, Holy.
Thank you, Dino. Those of you who are having classes will suspend them until the meetings are done. And you will go then to whatever class that you have at that hour. Fair enough? The faculty will immediately go to the mezzanine following the dismissal of this meeting, where Kathryn will minister to the faculty and to the administration. We will have a lunch on the mezzanine floor for the faculty. We know when we'll start this, only the Lord knows when and where it'll end. And to Kathryn Kuhlman, this is what we say to you from the Scriptures, Acts 10:33. Thou hast done well that thou art come. Now, therefore, are we all here present before God to hear all things that are commanded thee of God. Kathryn Kuhlman.
Give him a great big God. Give President Roberts a great big God. Yes. Give it. Thank you, thank you. We both thank you. And I want you to know that Dino's going to be back again. I was just thinking a few minutes ago while I was sitting there, I've been hanging around the university so long that if a stranger, not knowing who they would think I was one of the students. They wonder when I'm going to graduate. Do you know this? This is my third time, you know. It's like that. But remember, I never had the privilege that you young people are having. You're having the greatest privilege in the world, and whatever you do, take advantage of it. Every hour is important. You're thrilled to Dino's playing. Millions thrilled to his playing. Dino, who is now the guest artist with some of our greatest symphonies in the United States, he's coming back again in a great concert, sponsored, I understand, by the senior class of ORU. The senior class is sponsoring. Yeah, I think that's wonderful. And he'll be back again in concert. That's just a little bit what you heard today. That's just a little. Don't miss it, whatever you do. October the 5th. Now, if you have a date for October the 5th, break it. I'm just telling you something. Don't miss Dino's concert, October the 5th. I understand it's by ticket. Now, you'll know what to do. You take it from there. And it's sponsored by the senior class of ORU. Dino at the piano. October the 5th. And wonderful Jesus, I pray that not one person shall see Kathryn Kuhlman. Not a young person in this place today shall see Kathryn Kuhlman. But I pray that not one young person shall cross the threshold of this place of worship the same young person they were when they entered. The Holy Spirit shall move upon our waiting hearts. What I pray for them, I pray for myself. For no one in the whole world is as hungry for more than the one who's speaking this morning. If only these young people could know it. For just a few minutes as I bare my soul to them, I shall do something I've never done in my life before, never. And yet it's something I have to do. But through it all, may they know that the one who's speaking is crying out for more. Because there is so much more. Every atom of my being is crying out for more. So much more. It's a simple prayer, but you know my heart. I never plan too much in advance. And I'll just be very frank with you. I usually take one day at a time. I take one service at a time. If I planned in advance, I would have had a nervous breakdown a long time ago. And let's just be practical about the thing. It's just like that. I knew I had the great service yesterday, and so we were praying about that. Last night, weary in body, I'll tell you, that was one of the shortest nights I ever spent. Something happened to Tulsa time. I don't know what it was. But when I awakened this morning, I was like in the same position when I went to sleep last night. And I don't remember going to bed, you know. But when I awakened, I tell you the truth, I knew exactly what God wanted me to do. And I'm doing something I have never done in my life before. I tell you the truth. What I say to you, the world does not know. It is something that you don't talk about. It is something you don't tell the whole world. They wouldn't understand. God has a purpose. God has a reason for having asked me to do what I'm doing. I'm going to tell you what Kathryn Kuhlman is really like. Every time somebody gets Dino off privately, one of the first things they'll ask is, what's Miss Kuhlman really like? Wherever they get my Maggie, I don't care where we are, anywhere in the nation, they'll get Maggie off and say, now Maggie, confidentially, what is Miss Kuhlman really like? When they get Dr. Metcalf off someplace privately, you know, probably inviting him for just a little luncheon or something, but they're really wanting to know just one thing. Dr. Metcalf, confidentially, what is Miss Kuhlman really like? Few people really know. My sister, my older sister, who's old enough to be my mother, said not more than 3 weeks ago, she looked me directly in the face and she said, you know, Kathryn, I really still don't understand you. I really still don't understand you. And I often smile when those who are nearest to me will say, that's all right, we understand you. I know Kathryn Kuhlman. I know her better than anyone else in the whole world. And for just a very few minutes, I'm going to tell you what she's really like. You see what the world sees? It's just the glamour of it all. All of that 14,000 people really saw yesterday. All that the thousands of people really see of Kathryn Kuhlman is she comes walking out on stage with a long white dress. And they see the smile. And some say she's a little too theatrical. Somebody in the Shrine Auditorium who didn't know who my older sister was, and they were sitting directly behind her. They'd never been there before, and they said, "Don't you think she's a little theatrical?" And my older sister turned around and she said, "I want you to know, I've known her since she was born, and that's just Kathryn." And they see the glamour of everything, and they think it's wonderful. And they think it must be a thrilling life. Oh, it must be a glorious life. All you have to do is to get on a long white dress. All on earth that you have to do is to just stand up there and smile. All you have to do is to just do it. I was on a talk show the other day, Dallas, Texas, and I was being interviewed, and one of the questions was, "Miss Kuhlman, what would you say to a woman who would aspire to be a woman preacher?" You know what I said? I shocked the ones. It was a woman who was interviewing me that she didn't get her breath for the rest of the telecast, I'll tell you that. I said, "All right, I'll tell you what you do. Don't do it. If you've never been called, don't do it. If you've never had a real call from God, don't do it. But if you've had a real call from God, no matter what the cost is, do it." And it's just that simple. I'll tell you what Kathryn Kuhlman is really like. I may disillusion you. It's more than a long white dress. It's more than just a smile on the face. It's more than coming out on the stage. I remember something that my papa said when I was very young. My papa was my idol. The most perfect man that ever lived. And I'll still face the whole world and say I had a papa who was the most perfect man that ever lived. He was my idol. He was my love. If ever a girl worshiped her father, I worshiped my papa. I believed every word that he said. Papa couldn't be wrong. He couldn't. And I remember one day that Papa came and he said, "Baby." He called me baby and carried me when I was so tall, my legs dragged on the pavement. And he was still lugging me. He said, "Baby, you know, you can have anything in the world that you want. I don't care what it is. You can have anything as long as you have these two good hands. Anything." anything in the world that you want. You could be anything you want to be if you want it enough. I believed every word that Papa said. He said it. Papa couldn't lie. These hands, if I worked hard enough, I could get anything that I wanted. Papa worked hard. Papa wanted money. There was a day when Joe Kuhlman was considered the richest man in Lafayette County. Ask anyone from Lafayette